For ye are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men?
So when he said come out of her, he was referring to that. He was referring to the fact that as a people, we have much division. We have strife amongst us. The reason we got that mindset is because America never taught us unity. As much as you try to be unified with your mother and your father, most of y'all only saw your parents for what, 2-3 hours a night? You ain't even have no unity with your damn dad, with your mother, with your cousins really. You really didn't even know them and what they believed and what they stood for. So as a people, all we know is division. That's why most of us, we call our mothers right now. Don't she complain? Any of y'all call your mother, she complain? Raise your hand if I'm not talking to myself. Your mother complains. As soon as you call her, you see Betty. I don't know. Betty got one leg and Betty be tripping. You know what I mean? And then the damn Ron, you know, he acting a fool. Like, Ma, shut up. You gossiping. You got hatred on you. That's all we've learned.
Warm, gotta pick a side. Who am I?
Let's read 2 Ezra chapter 9, 2 Peter 3 and 1. Let's start there. We are not going to get through everything, but I'll cut a lot of stuff. We'll figure it out.
Book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you.
Take your time. Slow down. Read it again.
This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you. In both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance.
So when Peter wrote to the people, the goal was to stir up their minds in remembrance, right? To show them things that they needed to do in order to get repentance, right? In order to come back to God. Go ahead.
That ye may be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets.
So these things were written by the holy prophets, right? And these things were written by the apostles. They were written in the Old Testament. So Peter took the Old Testament. He said, I'm going to reference things, and I'm going to reference them with the purpose of building the people up. Right? They got different issues and different problems, and they need them to be fixed. Go ahead.
And of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers.
So we're in the last days now, right? The last days started when Christ came upon the earth. So when the scoffers came on the earth, the scoffers did what? Read.
Walking after their own lusts.
That's what the scoffers did. They walk after their own lusts. They tell you, hey, you could go on TikTok, right, and shake your behind. You could get drunk, right? You could watch pornography. You can go to Christian church, whatever denomination you want to, Baptist, Pentecostal, whatever you may want to do, right? Go ahead.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming?
That's what the Hotep community to tell you. Where's the promise of Christ coming? Christ ain't going to return. Do whatever the hell you want, and you'll get salvation at the end. Or Christians tell you, you're going to be saved by the blood of Jesus. You ain't got to repent. You ain't got to get your soul right. This is the same thing that was going on in these times, right? Go ahead. Read it one more time, verse 4.
And saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation.
So that's how people think, that things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. So there's no difference in this time, right, than what was going on before. The people walked on and they continued in sin as if there was no reason to repent. 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. So when we come into the body, we got to be different, right? Something that got to change in terms of how we look at the scriptures and how the world looks at it. And Peter always wanted to stir the people back up. You got to think, in that time, Peter's talking about people who had the Bible, who knew that they were Israel, and they still had that mindset, that nothing was going on, right? Go ahead. 2 Ezra 9 and 1.
2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
Read it again.
He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
So he told him to measure the time. If anybody's measured something, right, it's a process. You got to get a ruler or measuring tape. You got to go through, line it up, make sure it's not moving, make sure whatever you're trying to measure against is on point, and then you look at it, you accurately mark where you at in terms of the time. He said to look at where we at in the time of history the same way. Read that again.
He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
So see what's happened and see what's going to happen. See what prophecies have already passed and what prophecies haven't passed, so you can measure the time. Go ahead.
And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before,
read,
then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
So he's telling you the Lord is going to return when you start to see certain signs pass. So in our mind, we go through life and we say everything is as it is. But if you're understanding the Bible, you're supposed to be able to look in the scriptures and say, this happened, this happened, this happened. Therefore, time is moving forward. The end is getting nearer, right? That's how we're supposed to look at the Bible. Christianity can't do that. The person who's in a hotep can't do that. Islam can't do that because they don't understand the prophecies in the Bible. But you have an understanding. You're supposed to be able to say, this has happened. I see this and this and this. These are signs that the end is coming. Go ahead.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes.
So if you see earthquakes, go ahead.
And uproars of the people in the world.
By show of hands, who sees uproars of the people in the world? Who knows what that is? Somebody yell it out. What is an uproar? Or get a mic. Protest, right? Okay, so a protest, I don't know how you always be answering first. That's crazy. I'm telling you, it's a spirit in you. The point I'm making, right, is there's protests going on in the world, right? So we see that. Protests continue since the time of George Floyd. It's continuing, right? To now you see protest after protest after protest. So he said, in order for you to know that the end is coming, read verse 3 one more time.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world.
So uproars of people in the world, right? I think I sent you something on the war.
Gaza death tolls surpass 25,000 as Israel escalates assault.
So the death toll right now in Gaza is 25,000. Now, scroll back up. It's something it says in the headline. When you look at this war, the purpose of this war is supposed to be to get Hamas, right? Now, if Hamas is 25,000 people, that's a lot. That's a big army, right? Hamas ain't 25,000 people. So who's dying? Civilians, right? Regular people, children, women are being put to death. So when we read this, we got to understand why there's uproars of the people, because what's happening is people's kids, right? People's grandmas, grandfathers, they're being bombed, they're being killed. Basically, Gaza's being made a wasteland. So what would that do if your neighborhood was made a wasteland? That would frustrate you. That would make you want to protest. I don't know if y'all been in the street. Anybody who goes to camp, as we've been going to camp, people ride by us and they say free Palestine, right? They'll see the Israel on our shirt, they yell out free Palestine because they can't tell the difference in ignorance. So what's happening is people are starting to get upset. That's what's happening here in America. So America's ripping apart at the seams when you see these protests. Read the underline right there.
UN Chief Antonio Guterres denounces Israel for the heartbreaking deaths of Palestinian civilians in Gaza.
Okay, scroll down some more. Let's read some more.
The Palestinian death toll in Israel's assault on Gaza has surpassed 25,000, according to the Ministry of Health in the territory. Ministry spokesperson Ashraf al-Qudra said on Sunday that 178 people have been confirmed killed in the previous 24 hours.
When we see those numbers, we're like, oh, that's light numbers, right? And again, Palestine is getting their judgment according to the scriptures. So I'm not saying this for y'all to empathize with Palestine or be pro-Israel. It's not about that. What you got to be able to see is this is what's creating the uproars in the earth. People are seeing 178 people are getting killed in 24 hours. So then they say, my grandmother is getting killed. My cousins are getting killed. My aunties is getting killed. My uncles is getting killed. My friends are getting killed. Whoever you may think of that you might have a close relationship to, that makes people upset, right? That's what it means when you see uproars of the people. People are going to be mad in these last days. They're going to want revenge against America. That's what's happening. Go ahead.
With a death toll in more than 3 months of Israel's war on Gaza reaching 25,105.
Scroll down a little bit more.
The Israeli bombardment began after Hamas's surprise attack on southern Israel on October 7th killed at least 1,139 people, according to an Al Jazeera tally based on official Israeli statistics. Around 250 other people in Israel were taken hostage by Palestinian armed groups. Reporting from...
By the way, Israel knew this was going to happen too. They let it happen, but go ahead. They let it happen and they killed 25,000 people. They let so on Israel's hands is about 26,000 people if you count the people of their own people they let die and the people that they killed because they knew this was going to happen. Go ahead.
Reporting from Rafah in southern Gaza, Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud said there was intense ground fighting near a key hospital in Khan Younis on Sunday. Snipers have taken positions in high-rise buildings, shooting people on the street below. People in Nasser, hospital have no place to go, said Mahmoud, adding that it's street to street, house to house fighting.
Okay, you can stop there. That's what's coming to America. But a lot of us are oblivious. We don't watch the news, so we wake up every day, we're like, man, it's not going to happen in America. This is Babylon. That can't happen in San Diego, California. There's no way that can happen here. That's what's going to happen here. That's what's coming. Read that verse again, 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. You could drop this article. I gave you something else too. You can pull that up. Read verse 3 again.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world.
So the uproars of the people that you see are due to this war. People are angry. People are upset. People are heartbroken. So that's why the people in this land are going to turn against America, right? Scroll down. Watch this.
The latest on the Israel-Hamas war. What we're covering. U.S. President Joe Biden said he has decided on the U.S. response to the drone strike that killed 3 service members in Jordan.
So the service members that died, you know what they look like? What they look like? They look like us, right? Okay. So 3 black people, right, or Israelites died. Over there fighting for Esau, died. Go ahead.
Meantime, a powerful Iran-backed militia in Iraq announced the suspension of its operations against U.S. forces.
Go ahead.
Israeli special forces, dressed as civilians and medical staff, infiltrated the IBN Sinai hospital in the occupied West Bank of Jenin and killed 3 Palestinian men, according to Israeli and Palestinian officials.
So they're killing in the hospital. I want y'all to understand how raw it's getting. They broke into the hospital and they're killing people in the hospital. Go ahead.
In Gaza, the Israeli military confirmed after weeks of speculation that it has been pumping large volumes of water into suspected Hamas tunnels. In the southern city of Khan Younis, Israeli military vehicles entered the compound of Al-Amal Hospital, according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society.
So if they pumping water into tunnels in the ground, what's going to happen to the people down there, yo? They're going to drown. I'm telling y'all got to understand the level of evil that's going on the earth. But we might be like, oh, man, it's not happening to me, so whatever. I'm going to go to work. It's all good. This is nothing to me. When we see uproars of the people, we should understand it's attached to something. People don't protest for no reason, right? That don't make no sense. Why would I just go outside yelling? There's a reason I'm yelling, because I'm angry about something. Go back to 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. So now you see why the people would protest. Go ahead.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning.
The Lord said this was going to be what it was from the beginning. Go ahead.
For like is all that is made in the world at the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest.
Okay, the end is manifest. Give me 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 8. Watch this. The end is manifest.
2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 8. And he said unto me.
Take your time. We're not getting through all this, so it don't matter. You ain't got to rush. 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 8.
And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau.
So Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, right? When Abraham had Isaac and Jacob, right? He had 2 sons, right? Jacob had 2 sons, right? He had Esau, right? And Jacob. So now Jacob's hand is holding the heel of Esau when he comes out. Y'all understand? Esau's the oldest. Jacob is holding his heel. That's what you see coming out of the womb. So picture like a baby being delivered, right? Go ahead.
For Esau is the beginning, for Esau is the end of the world.
He said when you see Esau, Esau is the end of the world. So Esau's in power now. What you got to understand is the Lord gave you certain things to determine when the end of the world will begin. So when Esau came into power, the end of the world started. It's been going on. When Rome came into power, when America came into power, in England and Spain and all these places, it's been the end of the world. It's just a long, drawn-out thing. To us, it's a long time. To the Lord, his time is different. Shalom. Hey, bro. Hey, sis. You've been watching for a whole 15 minutes. You still ain't subscribed yet? Go ahead and hit that button down at the bottom of the page. All right, I'm going to shut my black lips. You get back to the class. Most High in Christ bless.
Who is Esau Edom by Charles A. Wiseman. If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God and his people and try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau, the one God is against, knowing that if God is against something, so will his followers.
This is not going out. Why is IT telling me scoot over? Relax. Everybody relax. Read it again. like I just spilled coffee, right? Did I spill coffee, officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's live in reality. I spilled coffee. I need to clean it up, right?
Yes, sir.
If my Bible stays wet, what's gonna happen to it?
I was gonna get all jacked up.
Okay, so I have to clean it. All right, so we all on the same page, right? We live in reality, right? If you spill coffee, what would happen? You'll clean your Bibles up, right? All right, come on, IT, stay with me, all right? Y'all relax. Go ahead, read that again.
If God hated you and your ancestors,
I know it's not you. I'm just talking to all of y'all. Go ahead.
If God hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By natural reaction, you would be against God and his people and try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau, the one God is against, knowing that if God is against something, so will his followers.
Okay, keep going. We're reading all the way down.
Who is it that tries to conceal their identity as Edom, the one hated by God, by claiming to be Israel, the one loved by God?
Okay, so that's what Esau has done on the earth. They've claimed to be Israel, the one loved by God. Go ahead.
Only one group of people reacts as though God has a hatred for them. That is the Jews. Why do you suppose...
Oh, wait. Don't just skip past that. Read that again.
Only one group of people reacts as though God has a hatred for them. That is the Jews.
That's because the Jews, the people who call themselves the Jews today, are Esau. Right? So we all on the same page, and they know it. So this is how they act. Go ahead.
Why do you suppose the Jews from organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League to monitor and combat hate and to identify hate groups, would not Esau want to do this? Why is it that it is predominantly Jews who promote the anti-hate laws and other hate crime legislation? If you were Esau Edom, would you not do the same? An Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches and seminaries to get God's people to believe that there is no God of hate, only a God of love and mercy.
Only a God of who?
Only a God of love and mercy.
So not only would they create organizations, they would infiltrate the churches to make you believe that there was only a God of love and mercy. Go ahead.
The Jews have done just that in Christendom.
Okay, that's all I want. So the Jews intentionally infiltrated Christendom, right? They infiltrated these different organizations to make you feel like the only thing that exists from God is love and mercy, right? It's the love of God. And what that's done to us is change our perspective on who's the evil one in the earth. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 7.
It's the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Now my Bible look rustic, brother. Go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years
Read.
and then died.
Okay.
And his servants bear rule, every one in his place.
His servants refers to his 4 generals that were raised up, right? You got them right there? Lysimachus, Cassander, Seleucus, and what's the one? Ptolemy. There it goes. Go ahead. I'm not looking at it.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them, many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
So what happened? Read that
And
part.
evils were multiplied in the earth.
It says evils were multiplied in the earth, right? So when Esau reigned on the earth, evils multiplied. So evil grew more and more and more and more. So when you look on the earth, you'll see that evil is continuing to grow. Read Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17.
Hey, officer.
Yes, sir.
Real quick to that point, that goes back to what we read in Job, where it says he's the beginning and end
Right, of wickedness.
Or was that Malachi?
Malachi, right, 1 and 4. Yes, sir. It's the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished.
So stop. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished. Keep in mind, like the officer brought out, who's Edom? The so-called white man, Esau. Further evidence to that, again, when we're reading First Maccabees verse 10, it talks about, it gives you the Roman names or the Greek names, which are Edomites, who ruled the earth. And when they ruled, what happened? Evils were multiplied. Okay, keep that in mind. Go ahead.
But we will return and build the desolate places.
Uh-huh.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness.
They are the beginning and end of wickedness. Notice how when they began to rule, evil multiplied in the earth. You see how that connects? That's what the officer's showing y'all, so you can put those together and you can see that, hey, this is matching up. This is who these people are. These are the times we're in. That's it.
Okay. Daniel 4 and verse 17. Good point.
The book of Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
The who?
The Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men.
So the Lord rules in the kingdom of men. Go ahead.
And giveth it to whomsoever he will.
Go ahead.
And setteth up over it the basest of men.
He said, the worst of all men, the basest of men, I've given the earth. That's Esau. He said, I'm going to give the worst man on earth the earth to rule. Because when I gave the best men on earth the earth to rule, they didn't want it. They didn't want to be in a position of supremacy or power. They hated ruling. So I'll give it to the worst man that I possibly could, and then you'll see how it is to live up under him. You'll see what it's like when he puts you in poverty, and he beats you, and he makes you a chattel slave and gives you his name, and you got to go to work every day, and you got debt, and you got to call him Uncle Sam. Let's see if you like it that way. I mean, I could have ruled, but you didn't like it when I ruled, so let me give it to Esau. That's what the Lord is saying. He's giving the earth to Esau. Revelation 13 and verse 11. Now we complain, right? We stressed out. We call the white man the devil all the time. The Lord did that. If you got a problem, take it up with God. Right? God said he was going to do it, right? Okay. All right, Revelation 13, 11. So now Esau's in power. Watch what it says.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
The beast being referred to there is a man, right? It's another beast, another nation coming up out the earth. Go ahead.
And he had two horns like a lamb.
It say he had two horns like a lamb, right? The United States, they have two parties. What are the two parties that they have predominantly? Okay, so those are the two horns, and it said they're like a lamb. A lamb, is that a dangerous animal or is that a peaceful animal? Peaceful, right? That's what it's referring to. It's saying they have two horns. They got the Republican and Democrat party, and when they speak to you, they're like a lamb. They're soft and gentle. They say, God bless America. We want to make our school systems better for all the kids in Texas. You ever see them advertisements, right, where the person's running for office and they walking through somewhere, and they're like, vote for me, Doug Brooks. I'm going to like Doug Brooks' forefathers didn't kill all the Native Americans, right? Like Doug Brooks' forefathers don't got black people in jail right now. That's how they portray themselves, as peaceful, whether they're Republican or Democrat. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just like how they say, oh, democracy, everybody should have the freedom to choose who they want to be in power and to have decision-making ability. And they say, hey, this land over here needs democracy. Right. They're being ruled by a dictator. We need to give those people freedom. And then they start war with that land to conquer it and take over.
Right. Then they go in there, they blow everything up, and they be like, you need more guns to stabilize your country? I can help. I know I killed your president, but I can help. I can help bring peace. That's the lamb, right? That's the lamb part. They give you these two parties, and then they give you an idea of peace, right? And it also says that it's referring to America being a Christian society, right? Because they're built on the foundation of God, right? And God we trust. Go ahead.
And he spake as a dragon.
He spake as a dragon. Give me Psalms chapter 55 and verse 21. He spake as a dragon. So you look at him, but then when he talk, fire come out his mouth. What the hell? That's what you got to see. These are visions, right? So you see a lamb with two horns, looks peaceful. Then when the lamb opens his mouth, fire comes out. Spake as a dragon. Here's why it's saying that.
Psalms chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. But war.
Y'all ever put butter on bread and you know the bread is hot? Smooth. That's how Esau talk. Hey, man, that's why a lot of people got caught up with them PPP loans. Right? That's how you get caught up. Esau said, I got free money for you. All you got to do is come and get it. Negroes ran out. They got that free money. Now they locked up right now behind quote-unquote free money. This is how they get down. They'll throw something out there. It looks good, but in their mind is something else. Read that verse again from the top.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
In his heart was war. Go ahead. Give me the Manifest Destiny. Let me see that. If you were in social studies as a child, you know what this is. Maybe you weren't, so maybe you don't. So we're going to help you out.
Manifest Destiny was the idea that white Americans
Esau
were divinely ordained to settle the entire continent of North America.
So when Esau came over here, they had the mindset, even though they spoke peacefully to the natives and said, hey, my brother, can you help me learn how to plant crops and survive and create houses for myself, right? Can you take care of me? They said, yeah, we'll take care of you. No worries. And their mind was the idea that the entire continent belonged to them. As soon as we get this continent, bro, as soon as we get this house, we killing everything. Hey, we gonna kill everything. See, the difference between us, we ain't this evil. Like a Negro is evil in the sense that he'll plot on something, but you ain't never plotted on the continent. You ain't never plotted on stealing no continent. You plotted on how to get the video game system. Huh? You ain't got this type of evil in you. They were plotting on the continent. Read it again. From up there. Go ahead. No, from up here.
Manifest destiny was the idea that white Americans were divinely ordained to settle the entire continent of North America.
It said entire. Go ahead.
The ideology of manifest destiny was inspired. The ideology of manifest destiny inspired a variety of measures designed to remove or destroy the native population.
Okay, give me manifest destiny on Wikipedia now. So they had a mindset that we got to kill all the natives. God said this belongs to us. God gave this land to the native people that were here, right? Then Esau came. Esau had the idea this belongs to us. Now, obviously, it was all ordained of God. Right? The idea and the mentality that they had was ordained of God. He sent them as a sword to punish the natives for not following him. But when they came, watch what they did. Go ahead.
Manifest destiny was a...
Look what they got floating over the land. Look at that. A naked Neanderthal. Okay, scroll up. Let's read the paragraph.
Damn.
Is that Becky?
Is that Becky? Damn.
Manifest destiny was a settler colonial
Some
belief.
of y'all used to listen to artists that look like that. But go ahead.
In the 19th century United States, that white American
Look
settlers...
like Adele. That's what I'm saying, if y'all catch what I'm saying. Some of y'all listen to Adele. Repent. Go ahead.
That white American settlers...
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Manifest destiny was a settler colonial belief in the 19th century United States that white American settlers were destined to expand across North America. It was an early expression of American imperialism in the United States of America.
Go ahead. Scroll down.
There were three basic tenets to the concept.
I just want to read these tenets. That's why we had to get here. Go ahead.
The inherent superiority of white Americans and their institutions.
I mean, everybody got to know we the best, right? That's how their mindset was. America is the best, right? White Americans specifically. Go ahead.
The mission of the United States to redeem and remake the West in the image of the agrarian East.
We got to remake the West to look like the East where we live, Europe. We got to make America a white place. We got to remove all the people of color and their imagery and all their culture so that we can remake our image here. We can clean ourselves up. Because on the East, they were Neanderthals. They came from caves, right? They weren't the smartest. They weren't the best. When they came here, they said, we're going to remake all of that. We're going to show ourselves as great. That's what they did everywhere they went. When you read 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48, they had the same mindset everywhere they went.
Oh, you. Shalom, Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Hebrews chapter 10 and 25 said, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves as a manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much more as we see the day approaching. Come on down to Mesa, California, 7254 University Avenue, and come get some of this good news you can use. Shalom.
The title is Divisions and Schisms. That's what I told you, Bodo. Divisions and Spirits of Schism. Go ahead. 3 and 48. 1 Maccabees 3:48.
1 Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So, see, they painted their image. When the Greeks came and they ruled over Jerusalem, they say, you know what we got to do? We got to take their Bible and got to repaint the images. When Esau came here, they said, we got to destroy those natives and retake the image of the land. They understood imagery was important and making sure that they were glorified was important. So go ahead, keep reading. Right there it goes. There's a perfect image so y'all can look at it. Those are the type of things they did. They call it iconoclasm, right? They would take dark images and then they would paint them white. And what Esau says today is that a fire happened, and that's why the images were made the way that they're black. It was because of a fire. So how the hell did they get the red? How did they get different shades of black? How did that stay the same color, but the only thing that changed was the face? Esau the devil, man. Stop believing this white man. Go ahead, read what's up there. There's one more point.
An irresistible destiny to accomplish this essential duty.
So the first one was whites are better than everybody, and the last one said we got an irresistible duty to get this done, to take over everything. There's nothing that's going to stop us. So guess what? Do you think America has lost that mentality? Nah, they taking over the earth with the same mentality. That's why they go to every country. They set up a base there. They set up governments there. They rule everybody through trade and sanctions because in their mind, the earth is theirs. It wasn't just about America. Manifest destiny is a small microcosm of what they believe in their mind about the entire place. And the Lord said that they were the wicked, right? So give me 2 Ezra chapter 15. The Lord said that they were the wicked.
2 Ezra, verse 1.
15 and 14.
Book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 14. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh.
So we're looking at it, right? We know that if Esau's ruling, the sword and destruction is drawing near. That means war, right? That means the end of the earth. So what we see in Palestine is going to come to America. Go ahead.
And one people shall stand up to fight against another.
That's what's going to happen here in America. One people are going to stand up to fight against another. Go ahead.
And swords in their hands.
Swords are going to be in their hands. Go ahead.
For there shall be sedition among men.
Okay, look up the word sedition for me. So here in America, there's going to be sedition among men. Sedition among men. Right? Let's look up what sedition means.
Sedition. Incitement of discontent or rebellion against the government.
Okay, so there's going to be sedition amongst men. Give me that about Texas real quick. Let's look at that real quick. Let's look this up. There will be seditions, right? Sedition means you do not care about the ruling government, right? And you don't care what they say. Read that scripture one more time so y'all can understand. 2 Ezra 15 and verse 16. We're going to read the scripture and we're going to measure the time. Go ahead.
For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings.
A king will be a person in authority with the government. Go ahead.
Nor princes.
Okay, that would be like somebody in Congress or somebody below the king, right? Somebody like a governor or somebody in Senate or Congress or a vice president. Go ahead.
And the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Okay, so what they're going to do is going to be based upon how they feel, their power. So watch this. Let's read this article. Let's see what's going on with Texas. Read the date down there real quick from when this was from.
January 30th, 2024.
How long ago?
6 hours ago.
Okay, so I'm not making this up. This is from today, right? All right, let's read from the top. Go ahead.
Texas standoff with the feds in Eagle Pass is igniting calls for secession and fears of violence.
Who knows what secession is? Huh? Somebody stand up and get a mic so everybody in the room can hear it. And we can record it. This part, I won't record, Boda.
Shalom leadership. Secession means that Texas by itself is trying to become their own country.
Oh, damn. You on point. You on the money. Ding, ding, ding. So Texas is looking to remove itself from the United States of America. That would be sedition, right? That would be, I don't give a damn who the president is. I don't care who my governor is. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. This is happening. California also said they were going to do the same thing. So if Texas does it, chances are California might do the same thing. Need y'all to pay attention now, right? The world, this bubble ain't what you think it is. I know you in your bubble, you go to work, you go, it's a sunny day in the neighborhood. Play that Mr. Rogers theme song for me. Let's get that. That's how brothers walk through life. Get that while we read this. This is how brothers walk through life. Mr. Rogers theme song in their head. Go ahead.
The calls for Texas to defend itself and defy the federal government have set fire to a long simmering fight over states' rights, emboldening right-wing figures.
Scroll down. So now it's emboldening right-wing figures. I want you to think, when in the past did the country have this same type of thing happen? When did America have this happen? When? Oh, so this would create a what? Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. All right. So remember what I just told you. There's going to be war here. So this will create a civil war. If the right wing, which is the Republicans, say we're going to remove ourselves from the country, then that leaves who? Democrats. Or what was known in the past as who? The Union. To fight against who? The Republicans, which will create a civil war. That's what we're on the verge of. I know we sleep and we go to work every day. We're like, ain't nothing going to happen. I'm just going to be an Israelite. I'm going to get to come to the Sabbath every day. No, Esau about to fight each other here in this country. A lot of wars about to keep happening. That's biblical prophecy we're reading. Keep reading. Watch.
Daniel Miller felt encouraged last week as fears of
Go ahead, play. This is what brothers be thinking. This is brothers' lives. Before we read the article, come on. That's how brothers, you hear that song? That's how brothers wake up. Y'all don't read the Bible like you need to, so you wake up, it's Mr. Rogers' theme song playing. This is what be happening. Telling you. This is what be going on. It's smooth. You get your coffee. You put your bag on. You pull up your socks. You're like, oh, man, we're going to start the day. You can cut it. You can cut it. You can cut it. Meanwhile, Mr. Rogers is about to kill somebody. Mr. Rogers is ready for war. His basement got a damn a bunker in it. Yours don't. Damn. Right? Go ahead. Read it.
Daniel Miller felt encouraged last week as fears of a new civil war trended.
Wait a second. What did it say?
Daniel Miller felt encouraged last week as fears of a new civil war trended online, and a coalition of powerful Republicans coalesced behind Governor Greg Abbott's standoff with the Biden administration. As a longtime leader of Texas' unlikely secession movement, Miller has for decades argued that the state is in a stranglehold by the federal government that eventually would prompt enough popular support for a vote to leave the union. The past week only reinforced that belief. It validates and confirms the position we've had all along, which is that if Texas ever wants to truly secure its border, the only way we're going to do it is as an independent and self-governing nation.
So the goal is let's keep Northern Kingdom the hell out of here, right? The Biden administration wants to put up wires, right, or doesn't want to put up wires. Texas said we want to put up a border. We want to make sure that they cannot cross over. So there's a war between the Senate, right, or basically Biden administration, and then this guy, Governor Greg Abbott, who's saying we can govern it ourselves. If they cross, we're going to kill them. We're going to take them to jail. We're going to send them back. But we don't want to set up something where they could get caught and released. We don't want to do that. We want to keep them out. So he's against what the Biden administration's policy is. Watch. Let's go and explain.
At issue is the 47-acre Shelby Park in Eagle Pass, where Texas has for months been laying concertina wire along the Rio Grande to prevent migrants from crossing. In a 5-4 decision early last week, the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Biden administration, allowing U.S. Border Patrol agents to cut the wire to apprehend people who had crossed the river.
So the Border Patrol agents are able to cut the wire and they catch people. Go ahead.
The narrowly written decision, which didn't speak to whether the state had to stop laying new concertina wire, has emboldened Abbott, who vowed to continue his fight against the high court and federal government, citing Texas' right to defend itself from what he claims is an invasion of migrants.
So he's laying wire down. Biden's saying we're just going to catch and release them, right? We're going to set people up. We'll catch and release them. We're fine. We don't want to lay no wire down. So there's a war between them two in terms of what the policy should be in terms of allowing immigrants to come into the country. This is causing Texas to say, we're going to move out of there, right? I just want this paragraph, then we're going to go to the next article and look at the map. Watch.
By week's end.
By how long?
By week's end.
In a week. So while we was playing Mr. Rogers and enjoying our lives and not paying attention to the times, this happened last week. Go ahead.
And as the Texas National Guard and state troopers continue to roll out wire and stifle federal agents' access to much of the park, Abbott's defiant calls.
So Abbott took the Texas National Guard and the state troopers who are from Texas and made it so that the federal agents could not go into the park anymore. Y'all understand? So he's restricting the federal government's access to land. That's an act of war. Anybody who's in the military, you understand that, right? If you tell the military you cannot go into my land, right? You're saying my state is in control. That's an act of war. Because you don't govern that. The federal government should be above the state. Not anymore. Not in Texas. Go ahead.
Abbott's defiant calls were backed by 25 Republican governors, former President Donald Trump, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson, and nearly all of Texas' congregational delegation.
Okay, give me the next article. So 25 Republican governors said this is the right thing to do. So if the government comes in, let's say they bomb Texas, or they go to war with Texas, or they respond with force, what's going to happen? Scroll down. Let's look at the map. Let's see who agrees.
What states are supporting Texas? Signatories of Republican governor's statement backing Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Abbott and the Biden administration have been going head-to-head over border control jurisdiction in Texas.
Okay. Now look at the states that agree. Yep.
Red, signed statement. Blue, Democratic governor. Green, Republican governor did not sign statement.
Okay. So all of the red agrees and they signed a statement with him. What that look like, California? Look like you in trouble? Look like you in trouble. Look like you ain't going to the middle of the country talking about you from California if a civil war pop up. You stuck. This is the type of stuff that's going on. We got to wake up. Scroll down. Read the list.
Governors from the following states signed a statement supporting Texas Governor Greg Abbott: Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska.
Some of y'all been to these places. You're like, damn, my cousin from Nebraska. Yeah, your cousin about to be in a civil war. You ain't pulling up to a mom from California. You're going to stay here behind right where you at and relax. This is what's about to happen. Watch, we're going to go back to the scriptures. It's going to explain. Go ahead.
Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming.
Now let's go back to the scriptures. Watch what it say. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 16. Watch.
2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 16.
Start at 15.
Verse 15.
Start at 14.
Verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
It says destruction to the world and them that dwell therein. Go ahead.
For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh.
Destruction is coming. Go ahead.
And one people shall stand up to fight against another,
Uh-huh.
and swords in their hands.
Go ahead.
For there shall be sedition
There shall be uprising. Go ahead.
among men,
Uh-huh.
and invading one another.
Invading from one place to another. Go ahead.
They shall not regard their kings,
They don't give a damn what the president say. Go ahead.
nor princes.
We don't care what the vice president say. Go ahead.
And the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
There's going to be frequent uprisings. Go ahead.
A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able.
Man, I want to go to Nebraska, but you can't because Nebraska's going to be a police state. Because the city of Nebraska is going to set up their own territory with their own National Guard, with their own police force, with their own state police. And you're going to say, dang, I want to get on a plane and go to Nebraska. And you ain't going to be able to do that. Not like you used to. That's what's coming on the earth. But we're so oblivious to these things that the people ain't looking at it like it's going to happen. To a lot of Negroes, it's impossible that there'll be a civil war here. Go ahead.
For because of their pride, and the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid.
Read.
A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation.
And because of this, there's going to be no food. There's going to be a famine. There's going to be war going on. People are going to be robbing and stealing from one another, right? What we got to understand is when this happens, that means the country's going to be breaking down, right? Meaning there's going to be a lack of unity in the United States. So how are we going to survive it, right? Give me 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. What we see as a united front, it's never been a united front. The United States has never been united. Esau has never been one to take care of each other and look out for each other. They've always been about division and evil. But to many of us, our unity or our loyalty is attached to this country in the ways that we've been taught from America. Go ahead.
1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So the point here is that what? King Antiochus, he was a Grecian king. It was from Seleucid dynasty. He said that everybody should leave his laws and agree to the king. America, when you come over here, you have to leave whatever your nationality is. You may be Indian and have your own customs and culture in India, but when you get over here, guess what you're going to do? You're going to watch baseball, right? You're going to watch football, basketball coming on the TV. We're going to give you some hip hop, right? We're going to give you some country music, and eventually you're going to like something. You're going to assimilate. We're not going to allow you to come over here and be Indian. You putting a suit on when you want to do a job interview. So what they've made you do is leave what is yours and find unity and being on the same page with them versus being on the same page with what your culture is and what your nationality is. That's how Esau has governed for all these years. Go ahead, verse 42.
Verse 42. And every one shall leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So all the heathen say, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with living in the land of milk and honey and leaving my nationality and my culture and whatever I got going on so I can have this unity in America. But what happens when that unity crumbles? What happens when that ain't a thing no more? What happens when Texas got 25 states that say, yo, we going to war, and you Indians get the hell up out of here, and you Chinese people get the hell up out of here? Where you Negroes going? Where's your unity at? Where you going? Southeast? Where you going? Negroes going to be killing each other because we have no law. We lawless. So the first ones that's not going to be able to unite is us because our unity is in this world, a lot of us. And we don't see that coming. We don't understand how important it is to be unified and be in His truth, right? Give me Daniel chapter 7, verse 40. We can't see it because America's putting our head that the unity is with them. But they know, they're like, shoot, when all this blow up, I got me a bunker. You know what I mean? Daniel 7 and verse 40. Daniel 2 and 40, my bad. Daniel 2 and 40, my fault, Joe.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2 and verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron.
The fourth kingdom is referring to America, right? Or it's referring to Rome, sorry, right? Daniel 2 and verse 40, referring to Rome. Go ahead.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
So the fourth kingdom was referring to Rome, right? So Rome rose up on the earth. And Daniel 2, you see the order of all the kingdoms that were ruling on earth, right? That's what's going on here. So you got Babylon, Persia, Mede, Greece, and Rome, right? We just jump into Rome for time's sake. So verse 40 is referring to Rome. So read.
Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes.
The feet and the toes in the statue of Daniel is referring to America, right? The feet and the toes. Go ahead.
Part of potter's clay.
How many toes do you have? 10. That's referring to the 10 horns, right? So the 10 toes refers to the 10 horns, right? You got the 10 horns written in your Bible? All right, go ahead. Boda, if you could pull it up, pull it up. You should have it. Go ahead.
Part of potter's clay and part of iron. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
So when you see the statue, on the statue there was iron and then there was clay. That's referring to these different nations here in America, right? Iron and clay. You got Esau, you got Indian folk, you got Chinese, you have the Israelites here. All these people are not going to mix, just like iron and clay don't mix. Those are two things that you cannot turn into one. Go ahead.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay,
Read.
so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
That's what it's referring to America. The kingdom is partly strong, but it's partly broken too. And what they've showed you is that it's strong. They've showed you warfare and that we're all on the same page and that we're going to rule forever. But they haven't showed you that we got division in this country. People don't really agree with us. When people disagree with us, we just kill them and put them to death. We act like everything's okay. Right? We put them in camps, right? Guantanamo Bay, so you don't hear from them no more. The political prisoners, we bombed them, we killed them, we got rid of them. This country has never been unified because in order for it to be created, they had to kill everybody who was here and put them on a little section and say, you're going to be the natives and we're going to keep you off on the side right here. And you blacks, we're going to keep you in the hoods and hide you. And you Chinese folk, we know we don't like you either, but we're going to give you enough so you don't rise up against us. Here's the image of the statue, right? So the head you see is Babylon, then you see Persia is a chest, thighs is of brass, right? Scroll down, you see the legs of Rome, and then the feet, right, refers to the Roman Empire and America, right? Because Rome fell and then it came back as America, right? I'm abbreviating for time's sake. You can find more about it in Revelation 17. All right, verse 43, watch.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay,
Go ahead.
they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
See, he says, therefore, as y'all saw iron mixed with miry clay, that America, Esau, was going to mix itself with the seed of men. All the other nations. Go ahead.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
They shall have division. They shall not cleave one to another. Go ahead.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Uh-huh.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed.
The kingdom that's never going to be destroyed is you men and women that I'm looking at. Y'all are the kingdom that won't be destroyed, but he said in the days of these kings. It's referring to the kings that we just read about. In the days of Babylon, right? In the days of Persia, Mede, Greece, Rome, and now America, I'm going to set up the Israelites. They're going to be a kingdom that will never be destroyed. Go ahead.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people,
Uh-huh.
but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms.
It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. Go ahead.
And it shall stand forever.
So when Jacob rules, he's going to rule forever. That's what it's telling you. Esau was the end. That's what we see when America and Rome came on the scene. Jacob was going to come, break down this kingdom that exists today, and rule forever. Read verse 45. It's going to explain.
For as much as thou sawest that the stone was
The stone is referring to Christ. You can read that in 1 Corinthians 10 and 4. We moving on for time's sake. Go ahead.
was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold.
Christ will break down all these kingdoms. Go ahead.
The great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter.
Hereafter, meaning after the king of Babylon existed, these are the things that were going to happen. Go ahead.
And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
The dream is certain and the interpretation thereof is sure, right? Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Let's see if Habakkuk saw the same thing. So the prophets knew America wasn't going to last. When they saw the visions of America, they saw it being destroyed. But America, to the Negro today, portrays itself as Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Everything is good. We're going to be okay. That's why we don't know about what's going on. We watching the news. We saying everything is sweet, fine and dandy. But the world is crumbling as we stand on it. This America is being destroyed from the inside out. Go ahead.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell.
He enlarges desire as what?
As hell.
Go ahead.
And is as death.
He's as hell and as death. He putting everybody in captivity. Go ahead.
It cannot be satisfied.
Read.
But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Uh-huh.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him?
Won't all these nations that he's gathered to himself take up a parable against him? Go ahead.
And a taunting proverb against them?
Do you think the Palestinians that are having their children killed, you think they're going to be okay with America now? That ain't going to happen. Go ahead.
And say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Destruction to him that stole everything from me. Go ahead.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
With what?
With thick clay.
Clay is referring to all these other nations. He ladeth himself. He covered himself with all these other nations. Thick clay. That's what we read in Daniel chapter 2. Go ahead.
They shall not rise up suddenly.
Read verse 7 again properly, please. Shall they?
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee? Go ahead.
And awake that shall vex thee?
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them.
The sleeper cells that are in this country are going to awake. This country will be destroyed from the inside out. That's what it's referring to. Go ahead.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations.
Because the nations that these people are from, you destroyed them. They can't go back home. You made their governments collapse. Their dollars fail. You put sanctions on the places that come. They were forced to come here, and then when they got here, you treated them like ish. So you don't think they're going to rise up against you? As we see the Civil War and see seditions rising and all these things going to happen in America, it's going to make the people that are here turn against America itself. So not only will they be fighting each other, they're going to have enemies of the other nations here. There's no unity here. But in our mind, there's unity in America. Go ahead.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein.
Okay, give me Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. Christ says something here.
Book of Mark chapter 3 and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand.
See what he said? Go ahead.
And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
Read.
And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. No man.
So that's it. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath a what?
An end.
That's what America has. When you see the Republican governors, right, going against America, that's the end of America. That's what's happening. But in our mind, we don't see that. We go to work like everything going to be all right, and you're going to be able to cash your check, and everything's going to be fine and dandy. Revelation chapter 18, verse 3 through 4. So division is here. And what we learn from America, despite the fact that they painted it as a spirit of unity, is division. That's what you learned in your schools. You learn. Think about it. All of us been to high school. In high school, did everybody kick it together? Was there unity in high school? Nah, hell no. Everybody didn't get along. You had people that was nerdy. You had people who play instruments. You had people who play sports, right? You had people who did drugs. You had the baby mamas, right? You had the thoughts, right? You had the ones that was wholesome girls. You had all of that. You had all of that in high school. You had the Asian kids. You had the white kids. You had the black kids in the corner. So how do we now have an idea that there's unity here? There ain't no unity in America. So if you ain't unified with this, even y'all that's in the military, ain't no damn unity in the military. As soon as y'all get out of ranks, you go with the Negroes and the Asians go with the Asians. They hate your black ass. They hate you. But you say, yo, we fighting for this one country. Ain't no one country. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 3. But I'm telling you, they got you. They got you playing Mr. Rogers, thinking this is our country. That's what the Negro will tell you. Our country has to stand up. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through
those are the corporations, right? They've all drunk of the lies of America, and they got rich off of her. They did all the sin that America did because they saw the benefit. Yo, if we come to America, we're going to get rich. So if I'm from India, why wouldn't I come here and get rich? If I'm Asian, why wouldn't I come here and get rich? If I'm Palestinian, why wouldn't I come here and get rich? If I'm from Iraq, why wouldn't I come here and get rich? I see the benefit. All the corporations deal with America because they see the money. Go ahead.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Read.
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
But there's another voice that he heard in this vision that said, my people, stop dealing with America. Come, bring your behinds and get the hell out of her customs. Get out of the mindset of her being okay. Get out of the mindset of her unity, thinking that you won with her, that everything's going to be all right. Come out of her, my people, because I understand they going to kill each other over there. All of them that you see that look like they in the same group, they about to jump each other and kill each other. I need you standing over here so you can watch the fight. That's what you need to be doing in these last days. But the Negro is so engulfed in America that he don't see the need to come out of it. You so caught up in what America's doing and what they got going on that you think this thing gonna last forever. That's what they want. That's Satan's job, you men, so you understand. Satan's job is, I know I'm dying. I'm about to go down. I just got to take a few of you with me. Let me get 2/3. Satan's job is, let me get 2/3 of you to burn with me. That's my job. That's why I was created, to get 2/3 of you and the 9/10 of the people to burn with me. That's his job. He's doing a damn good job too. We got a job. Collect the 1/3, the 144,000, and 1/10 of the remnant of the people. That's our job. But Satan doing his job. The question is, who you going to be unified to, Satan, right? Or you going to be unified to God? Go ahead.
Come out of her, my people.
Go ahead.
That ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues.
1 Corinthians 3 and verse 3.
1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 3. Bring it out. For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions.
Okay, so we finally got to the topic. See what I'm saying, Sadi? I ain't getting through all this. It's 8:15 and we just got to the topic. Read it again.
For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men?
So when he said come out of her, he was referring to that. He was referring to the fact that as a people, we have much division. We have strife amongst us. The reason we got that mindset is because America never taught us unity. As much as you try to be unified with your mother and your father, most of y'all only saw your parents for, what, 2-3 hours a night? You ain't even have no unity with your damn dad, with your mother, with your cousins, really. You really didn't even know them and what they believed and what they stood for. So as a people, all we know is division. That's why most of us, we call our mothers right now. Don't she complain? Any of y'all call your mother, she complain? Raise your hand if I'm not talking to myself. Your mother complains. As soon as you call her, you see Betty, I don't know, Betty got one leg and Betty be tripping. You know what I mean? And then Ron, you know, he acting a fool. Like, Ma, shut up. You gossiping. You got hatred on you. That's all we've learned. Because when you turn on the news, guess what they show you? Hatred, division. When you went to school, you learn hatred and division. Be better than them. Excel over all other kids. We don't care about y'all being unified. You graduate and don't give a damn about your brother. Don't help him on his test. You pass the test and you tell him, I'm better than you. You suck. Tell him that. When his name ain't on the basketball team list, you say, hey, I'll holler at you later. These are the things we learned in America. So now we come in the truth, and we still got the mindset of America, which was, it's a dog-eat-dog world. We don't give a damn about anybody else surviving. 1 Corinthians 3 and 3, one more time.
For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envying.
There's envying amongst us. Go ahead.
And strife.
Strife, going back and forth. Go ahead.
And divisions.
There's division ultimately. Go ahead.
Are ye not carnal and walk as men?
One thing he said, they said, if you move that way, you're like a man. You're carnal. You live in a fleshly state. Romans chapter 8 and verse 6 through 8. You move in a fleshly state. You might think you're a God or you know you're an Israelite, but you got strife, divisions, envy in you. You carnal. You a man. You're not the God that I made. You're not the Israelite that's supposed to rule forever. You don't deserve immortality yet. Romans chapter 8 and verse 6.
Book of Romans chapter 8 and verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death.
Wait a second. He said to be what?
To be carnally minded is death.
To be carnally minded is death. Go ahead.
But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God.
Read verse 8 again.
So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God.
If you move with this carnal mind, you have an attachment to carnal things and not to Christ, you can't please God. It's impossible. You don't have the ability to, because your mindset is caught up and occupied in sin. So you have strife, division, envying among you. Read 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 24. These are the things that we've been taught in America. We ain't been taught how to have unity. None of us really learn biblical unity. You got to learn that now. You didn't learn how to really be on the same page and how to have be on one accord with somebody. You don't know that. Because you know why? This is how I know Negroes ain't learn unity. Because when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think about is you. Right? Who tell me I'm lying? The first thing you think about, you don't say, what do everybody else in the house got going? What's going on in our nation? You say, what do I got to do today? Because you don't give a damn about nobody else. That's what you've been taught. Think about you and what you got going on, and then you fit everybody else in around what you got to do. But a man who's learned how to take care of his people and put his people first, he wakes up and says, what do the people need first? What does the nation need first? What does my family need first? Then you fit time in for you. Whether that's late at night, whether that's late early in the morning, then you fit you in because you put you last. But you ain't learned that mindset. What you learn in America is, damn, these Negroes, take care of yourself. If your mom ain't right, damn her. If your cousin ain't right, damn her. And as a result, you bring that spirit into the body. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 24.
1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 24.
The Corinthians had a whole bunch of issues with division. 1 Corinthians 12, verse 24.
For our comely parts have no need, but God hath tempered the body together.
God put us together as a body. All of you men and women that are in here, go ahead.
Having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked.
He said the more abundant honor should be to the part of the body that is the weakest, that lacks. Go ahead.
That there should be no schism in the body.
Look up the word schism. He said the purpose of that is so that there should be no schism in the body. So a lot of us, right, we come to the school, you, especially you brothers that's newer, we'll ask you, we say, where's brother such and such at? You pull up to the school, you are happy, like, yeah, I made it, man, I'm first. Yeah. Yo, where's brother such and such? I don't know. Because you still a nigga. That's why you don't know. Right? Because in your mind, you're like, I don't care where that sister's at. I don't care where that brother's at. They don't got nothing to do with me getting the kingdom. But the Bible just said that you're supposed to what? Give more abundant honor to the part that what? Lacked. The part that was weak. We don't got that mind yet. That's what creates the division and the schisms among us. Because then we say, yo, damn, that brother wasn't even here. Who give a damn about him? I don't care about him. And we treat each other as such. That's how we've grown as a nation, right? So when you look at the black community today, they don't care about the person who's weak. That's why everybody got a crackhead in their family, because nobody stopped them from being a crackhead. Nobody said, let's gather around the crackhead, let's watch him, let's be on shifts and stop our life and our work to make sure he gets off crack. They said, Ronnie a crackhead, just don't let him in your house. Ronnie gonna steal your stuff, just don't let him in your house, because we hate each other as a people. That's what we learned. Read that.
Schism, noun. Division or disunion, especially into mutually opposed parties.
In my family, there's actually a light skin side and a dark skin side. You know what I mean? I don't know where I fall. No, I'm joking. I know where I fall. read it again.
Division or disunion, especially into mutually opposed parties.
Yeah, Benjamin's like that. Scroll, look at A. Look at A right there.
Yes, sir. A formal division within or separation from a church or religious body over some doctrinal difference.
Okay, so give me 1 Corinthians 1 and 10 now. So he said, actually read 12 and 25. I don't think you finished the verse. Then we'll go to 1 Corinthians 1 and 10.
Yes,
back to 1 Corinthians 12 and 25.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 25. That there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another.
Okay, so that the members should have the same care one for another. That's how you eliminate a schism. But when the members don't care about each other, what you got? Divisions and schisms, right? That's what you get. Because I don't care about this brother. I don't care what he lacks. I don't care what's going wrong with him. Who gives a damn? That don't got nothing to do with me. Because that's what we've learned in America. Because America don't care about the weak link. Kill the weak link. Kill the weak link, let the strong survive. That's how America operates. 1 Corinthians 1:10.
1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. Now beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you.
There be what?
No divisions among you.
So Paul told the church that there should be no division among you. There shouldn't be any schisms or division amongst the nation of Israel. That was what's supposed to be different to the nation of Israel that's going to stand forever and America. Because America has what? Divisions and schisms, which will lead to their destruction. We read that a nation divided against itself has an end, right? And he said that this nation will stand forever. So what does that mean we're going to be in the kingdom? Will we have divisions then? We won't. But we got them now. That's why we can't get to where we need to get to. Go ahead.
But that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
Okay, so you said they had to be perfectly joined together in the same mind and same judgment. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. What stops us from getting joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment is this.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit.
This is what happens. We got flesh that lusts against our spirit. Read.
And the spirit against the flesh.
Your spirit is fighting against your flesh. Go ahead.
And these are contrary the one to the other,
Uh-huh.
so that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
So you might want to have love for your brother, but today you angry. Or this sister might want to call a sister, but she corrected her on the Sabbath. So damn that sister. I don't care about her. Her and her funky hair wrap could die. This is the mindset we get as a people. Over pettiness. Because there's a spirit in us lusting against our flesh. And we don't know how to overcome that thing. So then we go into this place of fighting with carnal mentalities. And it leads to separation amongst us. It leads to us being in the same building, but spiritually we ain't connected. James chapter 4 verse 1. And if you're in the truth, you got to be different. You have to have the mindset to say, okay, how are we going to get connected together? James chapter 4, we're going to look at this.
James chapter 4 verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you?
So James asks a question. Where do wars and fightings among you come from? Where does that take place? How do we end up in a civil war as a nation? Right? Because that's what you see here in America. So how does the nation of Israel not end up in this place? How do we not end up in the same building, but spiritually we at war? How do you end up not being in the same house, but you at war? How do the kids not hate their parents? Right? How do brothers not hate each other? Sisters not hate each other? How does that happen? How do we get to that point? Read that again.
From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence, even of your lusts that war in your members?
He said, don't they come from within you? Don't the fight and the battle start within you? Don't that war start within you? Because if I say, Yasadi, I hate your hair, right? Which I do, for the record. You know what I mean? He knows that. Now he got a choice. He could be angry, right? And he can hate me. Or he can say, you know what, Officer Jadiel's playing with me, I'm going to let it go. He got a choice to make. But we're going to look at some examples. Cain, let's look at Cain. Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. Cain had a choice, right? It said that the battle is from your flesh that is warring against your spirit. So Genesis chapter 4 verse 1.
Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Read.
And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground, an offering unto the Lord.
So Cain, his spirit, said, I'm going to bring fruit of the ground to the Lord. Go ahead.
And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
So the Lord said, I'll take Abel's offering. Because Abel's offering was lawful, right? The law of sacrifice is what they were doing. The Lord wanted what? Bulls, goats, lamb. He wanted something from the flock. So he had a brother. He could have went to his brother and said, hey, bro, I know you got lambs and goats and beasts of the flock. Can you give me one so I can sacrifice to the Lord? He said, nah, I'm a person who got fruit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the Lord what the hell I want to give him. Many of us is like this spiritually. The Lord says, do this. You say, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. Sisters is like this. They got husbands. Their husbands say, do this. They say, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. I'm going to bring my Lord whatever the hell I want to bring him. I'm going to give him what I want to give him. Men say, I'm going to give the Lord what I want to give him. The Lord say, do this to please me. You say, I'm going to kind of do that, but I'm going to do this. So as a result of that, read.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
The Lord said, what the hell is this? I ain't asked you for this. Why you bring me some grapes? I want no damn grapes. I don't even eat watermelon. That's how you got to picture it. Imagine somebody bring you a fruit you don't like. You're like, man, I don't even like red apples. I bring you a basket full of red apples. You're going to be like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? I told him I wanted oranges. I told him I wanted some lamb or some steak. So the Lord had no respect for it. Spiritually, this is how the Lord looks at some of us. Because within us, there's a war and there's a fight. And it creates division first and foremost with God. That's where the division starts. Go ahead.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth?
He said, why the hell you mad? Why are you mad at me? Go ahead.
And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou do well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
He said, if you don't do well, don't you understand that's because sin lies at the door? Because your lust, your flesh is ruling over you. Because you're divided from me. The Lord wants us without sin. I told you exactly what to do. I told you how to please me. I told you the way you need to move. You chose to do whatever the hell you wanted, and you expect me to be happy with you? This is the mindset that Cain had. This is an evil, this is what you're looking at. First, Eve had this mindset, and then the Lord said, I'm going to make the serpent's child and Eve's child be at enmity. Well, Cain was the serpent's child. And the mind of Esau, the same white man we see ruling now, his mind was always to be at odds with God, to be divided with God. That was his mindset. That's what you see today. I'm going to do everything in my power to be at odds with God. And what they've taught you is you can be at odds with God too, and you're going to be just like me. You'll be powerful. You'll be rich. You'll be a God, right? You'll be on some sort of level. I'll give you a rank and a title, whatever you want. But you're going to die when the Lord returns. You see what I'm saying? It's all temporary. But if Cain would have just fought the spirit that was in him that was battling, if he would have said, you know what? I'm going to follow what the Lord told me to do, then there would be no issue. But instead, sin ruled over him. The war and the fight started within him, first and foremost. Keep reading, watch.
And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
Sin was referring to Satan. Satan will rule over him. Go ahead.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
So he went from being angry now to killing his brother. Now he had a what? That would be called a what? A war. It went from spiritually having an issue to the Lord, yo, why the Lord mad with me, bro? I'm upset. To, yo, why the Lord like you so much? I'm about to kill his behind. This is what's happening in the last days. The ones that follow the Bible are going to be put to death by the ones that don't follow the Bible. John chapter 8 and verse 44. That's what America is. You're behind enemy lines and you don't know it. And what you got to look to your left and your right and understand is the brothers and sisters that come in here, our job is to stay united with them. Our job is everybody that comes in these doors is to make sure that they don't have a division with God. To examine that about them and make sure that they're not divided with God. Because if they are, then they're our enemy. But our job is to say, bro, you all right? You battling something? You dealing with something? If you are, then you can be disconnected from God in that way. Then that will turn you to the point where you like Cain. Where you willing to kill me? Where you willing to kill your people? Where you're willing to choose to die with this society. That's how we get to the point of having a division, right? And a spirit of schisms. That's how we get there. John 8 verse 44. Watch what it says.
John chapter 8 verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning.
He was a what?
A murderer from the beginning.
It's referring to Cain. Go ahead.
And abode not in the truth.
See, he didn't do what the truth said, what the law said, right? That's Psalms 119 and 142, right? Go ahead.
Because there is no truth in him.
There was no law in him. There was no understanding of God in him. There was no willingness to do what the Bible says, so he followed what his flesh told him. Read.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it.
He's the father of saying, hey, I ain't kill nobody. I ain't put nobody to death. What you talking about? He's the father of that sin. He's the father of hatred. He's the father of letting his lust come over him. So there were many people who rolled in the same spirit after him. Right? After Cain, he wasn't the first one that had the spirit. Now there's tons of men on the earth who had the same spirit that Cain had. That said, you know what? Whatever my lust and my flesh want, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to do what the Lord want me to do, right? Damn that. I'm going to give the Lord whatever the hell I want to give him. We're going to see how it turns out. That's what the Christian church is. That's why there's so many denominations. Did I give you that? with the denominations of the church? Okay, all right, I'll send it to you in a second. I'm going to put it in the group. There's so many denominations of the church. Why? Because all of them want to do their lust. You got Pentecostal, Baptist, right? Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness. You got Islam. All of them want to do whatever the hell they want to do. So what they did was they say, yo, you're Saudi, bro. I don't really want to keep the Sabbath the way they talk about keeping the Sabbath. Let's make our own thing. We're going to call it Yesadiism, right? We're going to worship on Tuesdays because we like Tuesdays. We're available, right? You know, that's when we ain't got to work. And shoot, we want to eat pork. So let's eat pork on Tuesday, and we're going to be all right.
The hell is this?
Then you got idiots that say, you know what? I like that lust. I like to follow that lust with them. I like that one. That one feels comfortable. It feels good. But that ain't what God ordained for us to do. That's how we become divided. Then you go up in those places and you say, damn, everybody in here hate each other. They talking about each other. Nobody like each other on the choir. The pastor got cheating on his wife. He don't even like his wife. The deacons don't like each other. Why? Because from the beginning it was a spirit of division. That's what y'all got to be able to see. All of this, behind all the smoke and mirrors, is a pig with lipstick on. That's what's going on here in America. It's divided. But the way it's shown to you is it's united. It's one thing and it's going to stand. It's never been united. They've never been about unity. That's the point y'all need to see. Give me Judas now. Give me John chapter 12 verse 8. John chapter 12 and verse 1. I'm going to drop it in the group, brother.
Book of John chapter 12 and verse 1. Then Jesus, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him a supper, and Martha served. But Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard.
So this is Mary now. She took a pound of ointment of spikenard. Go ahead. It's expensive ointment. Go ahead.
Very costly. And anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair.
Go ahead.
And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor?
So Simon pop up. He see her using the ointment and go, yo, why she ain't sell this? What's going on with her? Nobody else is saying nothing, right? We just read there was more people in the house. Nobody else is saying that. It filled the house, so we all on the same page. The smell is filling the house. Nobody else is triggered or bothered by it, except for Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot roll up and go, what the hell is that? Is that ointment? Here's why he said it. Read the next verse.
This he said, not that he cared for the poor.
He didn't give a damn about the poor. It sounded like he cared about the poor, but he ain't say it because he cared about the poor. Go ahead.
But because he was a thief and had the bag and bare what was put therein.
He had the money bag. He said, yo, we would have sold this ointment. We got $300. I could have put this in the bag. I could have took off the top. The hell is wrong with her? She cutting into my profits. That's why he said it. So there may be people in front of you and around you saying things that seem like they care about certain things. But what's their intent? All of us, we got to examine that about ourselves first and foremost. When I'm saying things and I'm moving, are my actions according to God, or am I for my own gain? Am I for my own benefit? Am I actually doing this because I'm connected and I'm unified with the Lord, or do I got an ulterior motive? That's the vision. That's what you got to see here. He didn't say it because he was united and he wanted to look out for the poor and he wanted to help the people. He said it because he was for his own gain. He was for his own benefit. So sometimes brothers say things. Brothers move in certain ways. Sisters move in certain ways, not because they really care about the people, but because they're for their own benefit. That is a spirit of division. Just like Cain, right? Just like Cain. Cain wasn't for his brother Abel. He was for his own benefit. I don't give a damn that you like Abel. Why you ain't like me? Y'all understand? Go ahead.
Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying has she kept this.
So she did this because he was going to be buried. Go ahead.
For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always.
So he said, you always going to have the poor with you. You're always going to have to take care of the poor people, but me you won't have always. So he didn't charge it to her, or he wasn't mad at her for it, but Judas was, because he wanted his money. He was about his ducats. So the whole time he looking like she's wasting this damn money. So Jesus could see his intention wasn't right. His intention was of the devil. He was disconnected from Christ, even though he was there, even though he healed people. He was never there for the right reasons. Y'all understand? So you could be that way. You could look like you here for the right reasons and be here for the wrong reasons, right? Give me Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 14.
Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 14. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord.
So he sowed discord, right? Because he tried to rile everybody up against this woman. His job was, we don't want everybody to be in unity and be cool. We want to make an issue out of this. I want to make this a problem. The hell going on with y'all using this ointment? Christ's like, yo, leave her alone. Shut up. What are you doing? But in his mind was mischief. If you got mischief in your spirit continually, what you'll do is you'll say things that create discord in your house, amongst your brethren. Some of you are always in a fight with somebody or something. That's because your spirit is one of discord. Read that again.
Verse 14. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord.
So contrariness, that's what it's saying, is in his heart continually. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 14. So everybody might be on the same page. You in the room, everybody say, man, that red look good, boy. You should go with that red. But you, because there's some type of demon in you, that got to go. You said red, everybody said red? Blue. You got to be the one, because there's a demon on you. That demon on you don't like when agreeing happens. You have a spirit of variance. You have a spirit of discord, because in you don't like when people are on the same page. That's what was in Judas. I don't like when everybody agreeing. This is too nice and unified. I like arguments and drama and problems and issues. And a lot of us grew up that way because we had mamas like that. When she came in the house, she ain't check on you. She started screaming about the dishes. Right? So you grew up and you took that effeminate behavior and you said, now I got to look for an issue when I come in the house. What's going on with these toys? Huh? Who the hell? Huh? Who got these Legos on? What you screaming about, bruh? It's because you grew up that way. You grew up never having unity. You grew up in America, learning the ways of America, and you learn how to create division. It's because of this. Read, watch.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 14. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
So when the evil spirit came upon Saul, Saul now started to fight against his armor bearer, which was David. That was his brother. You got to understand, when they went to war together, and they said that David killed thousands, right? 10,000, that Saul killed thousands. David was protecting Saul. He was his armor bearer. Imagine me and Yesadiah go to war. Yesadiah is there in front of me. He's holding his sword. If people are trying to kill me, Yesadiah is killing them. And when I get back and they say Yesadiah killed thousands, yo, fuck that nigga. The only reason he was killing people was to save my life. That's what it was for. To protect me. I'm the king. I'm the person in power. Ain't his job to protect me? So he killed more people than me? Okay, I'm upset about that? Nah, he saved your life. He protecting you, doing his job. But to you, you say, nah, why they ain't saying my name? Because there's an evil spirit on you. Because you like discord. So when that evil spirit comes in, it creates division. That evil spirit from the beginning has been a spirit of division and discord. It started with Eve and her husband, right? And then it manifests itself over and over and over again. So what the Lord said I want in the end is I want unity for my people. I want my people to be on one page. I want them to think the same. I want them to behave the same. I want husband and wife to agree. Right? I want different men, when they deal with each other, I want them to be able to get to some type of solution and be on the same page. So if your mindset coming in here is, I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to think the way I want to think. You're against God. That's what we don't understand. If your wife got a mind to do her own thing, she's against God. All of that is the devil. Well, we got to be able to see what the devil is. The devil is about division. Y'all understand? Discord and division is of the devil. Give me Matthew chapter 20 and verse 20. This even happened with the disciples, right? Let's look at it.
Matthew chapter 20 and verse 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him.
So the mother of Zebedee's sons, right? The two, there was James and who was it? John, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
Verse 21. And he said unto her, What wilt thou? She saith unto him, Grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left in thy kingdom.
So they said, so she asked the Lord, let them sit on your left and your right in the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
But Jesus answered and said, Ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?
Go ahead.
They say unto him, We are able.
Uh-huh.
And he saith unto them, Ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren.
The word indignation means they had hatred for their brothers. When they heard their mother ask, can they sit on the left and the right? These men have been rolling with each other day after day, learning from Christ. But the rest of the 10 say, yo, how come them niggas get to be in power? Huh? How come they get to be in a higher status than me? There was hatred in them. We as a people, we battle with this same thing. You think if the 12 battle with it, we not going to battle with it? We battle with the same things. What it is the lust of our flesh. Read James 4:1 so we don't forget the point. All of this ties back to this verse. Whether that be you on an individual level, battle with the things that you do wrong against God, or looking at your brothers and saying, are they going to be in a superior place than me? Maybe they do that better than you. They read better than you. They teach better than you. They show up more than you because of their work schedule. Maybe they're more diligent in certain aspects. You got anger and issues with them. It's because of this. James 4:1.
James chapter 4 verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence even of your lusts that war in your members?
So they come from your lust. So the other 10 were mad because what? There was a lust for power in them. That's what Christ knew. All 10 of them wanted to be in power. Nobody wanted to take the back seat. They had been rolling with Christ, but everybody's like, yo, I'm going to be in charge when we get the kingdom, bro. I'm going to be ruling something. I'm going to tell that man what to do. James finna kiss my behind. I'm going to tell James and John, sit down over there. Do what the hell I'm telling you to do. I want that. That's why I'm following Christ, so I can get the same power as they had. There was a lust for power in them. So go back. Matthew chapter 20, verse 24. Or else they would have said, okay, James and John going to be in charge. Cool. I'm with it. But there was hatred that rose in them because that was what was lusting in them. Go ahead.
Matthew chapter 20, verse 24. And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the two brethren.
Read.
But Jesus called them unto him and said, Ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them.
Read.
But it shall not be so among you.
He said it won't be so among you. They that are great exercise power and authority among them. Go ahead.
But whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister.
Read.
And whosoever will be the chief among you, let him be your servant.
Whoever will be the greatest among you, let him serve everybody else. He changed their mindset. He said, y'all got to humble yourselves. Y'all in a lust for power. Let me explain to you how this thing works. The one that'll be greatest among you is going to love their brothers more than they love themselves. They're going to be willing to serve them. They're going to be able to wait on them in tables. That's why when you read this, later on he went and he washed their feet to show them, I'm not in a position of power. I'm actually beneath all of you. I came here to die to serve all of you. But in your mind, y'all are following me because you think you're going to get some type of power. You're going to get some type of status and rulership. You're going to get to tell people what to do. That's what you're here for a certain lust that's burning in you. So even the 12 had to fight against this. In order for them to be unified, they had to say, you know what? I ain't going to just be here to fight and rule over my brother. I got to actually serve him. Read that verse again, verse 27.
And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant.
Read.
Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto.
Just like me. I didn't come to be ministered unto. I ain't ask y'all to run and go get me food and take care of me. I stay up all night and all day healing people and taking care of them. I didn't come for y'all to serve me. Go ahead.
But to minister and to give his life a ransom for many.
I came to die for many. I came to put my life on the line and put down my lust and the things that I like for y'all. So why y'all ain't got that mindset? Because we don't know what unity is. Right? And until we get to the point where we could let go our own lust and the things that we got battling with us, we could never get to this point. Because we still battling with what we got to do and what we got to take care of and what's important to us and me. And we don't understand we here for we. We here so that there is no division and schisms amongst a nation. But in our mind, it's still about us. It's still about our family unit. It's still about our job. We still move with a mindset of me. And that's exactly why there's divisions and schisms. That's exactly why this thing would take place. Go to Luke chapter 17 and verse 32. Luke 17 and verse 32.
Book of Luke chapter 17 and verse 32. Remember Lot's wife.
It's simple. What happened with Lot's wife? Somebody help me. Get a mic. What'd she do? Was she in unity or division?
Shalom, sir. Most High in Christ bless. Brother Chris, she was so caught up in what was going on in the world that she looked back. She wasn't with her people. She wanted to be back in Sodom.
Okay.
She was focused on that.
So as a result of that, what happened to her?
She got turned into a pillar of salt.
Okay, because she had division,
Yes, sir.
right? Because what would make you turn back based on what we've been looking at?
Not so based on what we've been looking at, not being like in tune with what everyone else was doing. So she was, I don't know how to put it in words.
What's in James 4:1? Let's read it again for him. James 4:1. Remember
Her
the
lust.
scripture? Huh? Her lust. Exactly. There was lust in her that she was fighting with. When Lot said, I'm willing to leave my lust and overcome those, she said, I got a nice house. I got a car. Right? Not in that time. She might have had a camo. I don't know what the hell she had, right? She said, maybe I got nice dresses, some gold, right? I got servants back at the house. I got to leave all of that just to run out of here with you into the wilderness? Hell no. Man, I'm going, that's how it went. So what's going to cause people, and specifically women, to remain today? What's going to cause women to stay here today?
Their lust.
Exactly. That's what we got to be able to see. And sometimes, as a husband, right, brothers don't realize that their wives have different lusts that's keeping them from serving God, from serving you. They got things that they're battling within them that's causing them to say, I'd rather stay here. I know you're trying to get me to leave. I know you're trying to get me to serve God, but I like it here. I like what America offers me. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 34. Actually, give me Acts 19 for time's sake. Acts 19 and verse 24. Start there.
Acts chapter
I want
19,
to show you
verse
something
24.
about Ephesus. Watch.
For a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen.
Yep.
Whom he called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth. Moreover, ye see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, this Paul hath persuaded and turned away much people, saying, that they be no gods which are made with hands.
Because in that time, they were serving Diana, right? They were serving Diana. It's like feminism, right? Essentially what they were serving. So Diana, she pushed feminism through that god. That's what was happening. So the women were in power and the men were underneath them. This man was making money off of that. This is what the spirit was in Ephesus. Just like in America today, feminism is pushed. Go ahead.
So that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great goddess Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth.
Read.
And when they heard these sayings, they were full of wrath.
They were full of what?
Wrath.
Uh-huh.
And cried out, saying, Great is Diana of the Ephesians.
So there was a spirit in them that was willing to fight for this spirit of feminism. And Paul came and said, nah, this ain't right. So now give me 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 3. Watch this now. Might actually want 1 Timothy, but let me see. 1 Timothy 1 and 3, read that.
1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 3. As I besought thee to abide still at Ephesus when I went into Macedonia.
Okay. So Timothy was where? Ephesus, right? So we all on the same page. Timothy was in Ephesus. Go ahead, read it again.
As I besought thee to abide still at Ephesus when I went into Macedonia, that thou mightest charge some that they teach no other doctrine. Neither.
So the point I want y'all to just see is that Timothy was left in Ephesus. The book of Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
The Lord wasn't asking it. It's a commandment. He said, gather yourselves together. Read it again.
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
The Lord said in the last days, he commands us to gather together. He said we a nation not desired. Read that top part one more time.
Gather yourselves together.
Wait a second. You sitting on the couch. You're sitting at home. The end time's passing you by. And you ain't been to the school yet.
Come on now, dog.
You ain't hear Boozy? What Boozy just said?
Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's time for you to get down here, man. It's a shame, bro.
What the hell?
Come on, man.
Oh, my God. No way.
Look, come down to the school, 7254 University Avenue, La Mesa, California. Come keep God's commandments. What you waiting on? And if you're looking for a school in your area, visit israelunite.org/contact us and find the school closest to you. Shalom.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11.
My bad, I wrote it down wrong.
Let the woman learn in silence.
So now when we go to chapter 2, he tells them, let the woman learn in silence. Why? Because in Ephesus, the wives and the women were running things. So he said, when you get here, you have to tell them, let the woman learn in silence. Because the way that the women were, they were used to running everything. That's like the Christian church today. So a lot of brothers, they got wives, they're trying to get them right, they're trying to figure it out. They don't know how to be in silence. They don't know how to be in order because what? The spirit that's in them is one that's created division. It's with the woman ruling. Go ahead.
Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Read.
But I suffer not a woman to teach,
He had to tell them that because the women were teaching. Go ahead.
nor to usurp authority over the man.
They had I want to be politically correct because Samson's here. They had thought priestesses. I'll just word it that way. Okay, when you go look into Diana. In order to serve Diana, you slept with the priestess. Right? Go ahead.
But to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve.
So he reminded them Adam was first formed, then Eve. Go ahead.
And Adam was not deceived.
Uh-huh.
But the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
The woman was deceived and she was in the sin. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
Childbearing, in order for a woman to have a child, she must have a husband. That's what it's referring to. So her salvation comes with her submitting herself to her husband and following what he tells her to do. But the woman ain't learned that. She's learned, be on your own and do whatever you want. You don't need no man. That's the division we learn in America. You don't need to marry nobody. A sister asked once, do I need to get married before I go in the kingdom? No, you don't have to. But why would your spirit say, I want to be alone for the rest of my life when women were made for men? Why would you have that mentality? What put that in your head? Think about it. Where did that come from? It didn't come from God. When the first woman was made, she had a husband. So why would a woman say, I want to be alone for the rest of my life? It's a masculine spirit. That division has been created here in Babylon. Go ahead.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
All right, go back to James chapter 4 now. We're going to read down. We're going to wrap it up soon.
James chapter 4 and verse 1. From whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence even of your lusts that war in your members? Ye lust and have not. Ye kill and desire to have.
This is what happens amongst us, right? You kill, right? You try to get ahead with evil ways. You lust and you don't get it. Because the goal, right, is not the right goal. You use your lust to get what you get. Go ahead.
And cannot obtain.
You don't obtain what you want to obtain. Go ahead.
Ye fight in war.
You fight in war because of these lusts. Go ahead.
Yet ye have not, because ye ask not.
You have not because ye ask not. Because you don't go to God with sincerity to try to get what you want. You're doing it for lustful gains. That's why a lot of brothers come in here and they don't grow spiritually. They be like, man, I've been in here 5-6 years. I didn't get the rank I want. I don't have the understanding. Because you still haven't dealt with what the Lord wants you to deal with in order to be connected to him. You still doing it and lusting for it in another way. I'm not going to listen to leadership and what they tell me to do. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, and I'm still going to get the rank I want. You're going to sit your black ass right there. Right? You come in, the leadership say, hey, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to do. You say, I don't believe that leadership is right. I'm going to do my own thing. You still in the same place on the hamster wheel. You don't think that's of God? That's of God. That's why you're still a brother. You're still a soldier. You're still not in any offices you want to be in because you do not do it the way that you need to do it. God said you ask for it upon your lust so that you may do it for lust's sake. Watch, verse 3 is going to explain.
Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust.
It's like saying to the Lord, Lord, can I win $1 million, Lord? Lord, I want to get a car. How many of y'all ever pray for something like that? For money. The Lord ain't give it to you. You still broke because he knew you was going to kill yourself with it. That's what it's saying. He knew if you got $1 million, you was going to go do crack. You never did crack before. Lord give you $1 million, you'd be like, man, crack look interesting. I mean, it's true. I got $10 to spare. Right? I got $10 to spare. I'm rich. And then you kill yourself because you don't have the spirit to serve him. So therefore, you don't get what you want. Read verse 3 again.
Ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust.
Read.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world
The unity with the world, go ahead,
is enmity with God?
is hatred with God. God hates when you have unity with this world and you have division with him. That's hatred to God. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God.
And that's what we got to look at within ourselves. If you got divisions and the spirit of schisms, it's because you have friendship with the world. You don't like coming here and learning for classes. You don't like Camp 101. You don't like dealing with sisters. You hate God, really. That's what he's saying. You love the world and you hate God. So guess what you get? You get death. You get death pie. You get to burn in the lake of fire. For all your lust and everything that you chose to serve versus serving God, you get to die here. Read verse 5.
Do ye think that the scripture saith in vain, the spirit that dwelleth in us lusteth to envy? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble.
Read.
Submit yourselves therefore to God.
The way you submit yourselves to God is you say, God said, thou shalt not kill. I'm not going to kill. God said, thou shalt not steal. I'm not going to steal. God said, as a sister, I'm supposed to listen to my husband. Let me listen to my husband. That will make you the humble one. But if you do not have the ability to be humble, then what it means is you're choosing to be on the side of the devil. You're choosing that spirit of Cain. You're choosing that spirit of Esau. That same spirit that says, I don't give a damn what God tell me to say, tell me to do. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And all those people are going to get death. So when we read earlier, he said, come out of her, my people. What he was saying is, you got to change your mindset. You can't have the mindset to serve your lust. That means you're at division with me. You're my enemy when you do that. Go ahead.
Submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
Okay, read.
Draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded.
Okay, give me John chapter 15 and verse 10 real quick.
Book of John chapter 15 and verse 10. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be fulfilled.
Okay, your joy is to get the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
He said, love one another as I have loved you. Go ahead.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend.
A man must be willing to die for his friends, but put away his lust also. You must be willing to say, I only want to take care of me and my things, but I'm going to change my mentality. I'm a wife and I only care about me. Well, I'm going to change that for my husband. I'm going to start to look at my husband and say, let me value what my husband wants more than what I want. A child must say, I'm going to value what my parents want more than what I want. Right? Us, we must say, I'm going to value what Christ wants more than what I want for myself. That's when you lay down your life. You say, I put aside what I like, and I'm willing to put forth Christ and what he wants in the forefront. That's when you'll get to the point of, I'm willing to die for Christ. You ain't willing to die for Christ if you ain't willing to put down the damn TikTok. If you ain't willing to put down your cell phone, if you ain't willing to come to the school on a Tuesday night, you're not going to die for Christ because your lust is still more valuable to you. Read.
Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call ye not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doeth. But I have called you friends, for all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you.
Read.
Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain.
The fruit goes into Galatians 5:22 and down, right? You can read that later. Joy, peace, love. These things should come from you if you're rolling in the right spirit. You shouldn't have strife, division, variance, hatred amongst you if you're rolling in the spirit of God. If you're connected to God, you're going to bring forth fruit. Go ahead.
That whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you.
See what he said? He said, if you ask the Father in my name with a righteous spirit, whatever you want, you're going to get. Because your goal is to take care of the people. Your goal is to create unity amongst my nation, to build them up. It ain't so you could get the biggest car or have a certain status. If that's your mindset, I'm not giving you nothing. You could die. But if your mindset is to take care of my people, I'll give you everything you want. If your mindset is to serve the brothers and sisters around you, I'll give you everything you want. If you remember, Solomon asked the Lord for wisdom so that he could judge the people. Then the Lord said, I'm going to make you wiser than everybody else. I'm going to make you richer than everybody else. Why? Because your goal is to serve the nation of Israel. Well, we lost that mentality. Go ahead.
These things I command you, that ye love one another. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you.
Because the world is against you. It's divided from you. Go ahead.
If ye were of the world would love his own.
If the world loves you, that means you're of the world. That means you're going to die with it. So we understand. The world should hate you because what? You're connected to Christ. There's going to be a difference in how you move and behave. Go ahead.
But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
Go ahead.
Remember the word that I have said unto you. The servant is not greater than the Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept me saying, they will keep yours also. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also.
Give me chapter 13, verse 34 and 35. I'm going to read a few more, and I'm going to wrap it up by 9:10.
John chapter 13 and verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another. as I have loved you.
He said a new commandment. Why? Because we never learned to love each other. We have forgotten at that time. Just like in the U.S. today, you don't know how to love each other. You don't know how to put somebody above yourself. All you know is division and strife and envy. That's all you know. You got to admit that about yourself first so you can change. Wives don't know how to be wives. Brothers don't know how to be brothers. Sisters don't know how to be sisters. We don't know how to do none of that. What we know how to do is hate on each other and look out for ourselves. We know how to do that. That's how we alive. A lot of us come from hoods that are grimy. People are selfish. We know how to get up out of there. We know how to make sure we get to the job and do this brother dirty or do this person dirty or cheat the system, but we don't know how to move righteously. We don't know how to love each other according to the laws of God. Go ahead.
That ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another.
Verse 35.
But this shall all men.
Nope, read it right.
By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples.
He said, now if you learn how to love each other, right, as I have loved you, men are going to know that you have God. They're going to know that you're my disciple. Because when they see you, they're going to see a different type of connection and unity on you. They're going to say, the way that those brothers move with each other and talk with each other, and even when they have conflict, they know how to resolve it. That's different than anything I've ever seen in the world. The Navy, the military, they don't know how to resolve conflict. Corporate, they don't know how to resolve conflict. Everybody does things for their own benefit. You know what? We're just going to have to mutually agree to let you go. You know, we're just going to have to let you go. Because it don't look good for us and our money. That's what it's about. It ain't really about making you better. Nothing is being done in this earth to build you as a person. The only people that are going to do that are the Israelites that are following Christ. Because they actually have unity. That's what you're supposed to learn here. Read verse 35 one more time.
By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye love one to another. If ye have love one to another.
All right, so Rock 17 and verse 17. Actually, Amos 3, 1 through 3. Come on. Got 6 minutes. See, this is what happened when we start late. I can't even get through it. It is what it is. I may do a part 2. I may never talk about this again. Go ahead.
Amos chapter 3, verse 1.
If the Lord spare my life, then maybe I'll do part 2. Go ahead.
Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I have brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Read that again.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Because I had a special unity or connection to you. Go ahead. Verse 3. Watch what it says.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
The Lord said, unless we can connect back to him, we can't walk on one accord. Right now, we've learned division. We learn how to walk the way America taught us and think the way America told us to think and move the way America taught us to be. But what he's saying is we got to reunite to him. Can we walk together unless we agree with God? Unless we know that the Lord said, thou shalt not kill, and we say, I'm willing, Lord, not to kill. I got a lust in me to be angry or have hatred with that brother or sister, but I'm going to fight that because you told me not to hate my brother or my sister. You told me not to bear a grudge. You told me not to keep my mouth shut when I see sin, Lord, so I'm going to make sure I point that out so I don't have any issues with people. I'm going to fight that within me because then I know I'm connected to you. Then I know I'm walking with you. But if I'm not, then I'm walking with Satan. Right? Read verse 3 again.
Can two walk together except they be agreed?
Okay, give me Sirach chapter 7, verse 17.
Book of Sirach, chapter 7 and verse 17. Bring it out. Humble thy soul greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms.
What we got to understand is if we don't walk with God, the ungodly, Esau, their vengeance is fire and worms. They're going to burn for 1,000 years. Their souls are going to burn. Bishop went over that on the Sabbath, right? Their souls are going to burn in the fire for 1,000 years. We got to ask ourselves, would we rather serve our lusts and walk however we want to walk and do what we want, burn for 1,000 years, or say, you know what, I'm just not going to kill. The Lord said don't have hatred. I ain't going to have hatred. I'd rather do that. I know it's a fight and it's a battle and it feels uncomfortable and I don't like to do it in the moment, but the benefit is far greater than this short, temporary feeling of strain. What would be better? That's what we got to ask ourselves. That's why he said, humble yourselves greatly before the Lord. Look at it and say, I got to put my own lust and feelings aside and say, let me be connected back to God. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 1. Many of us, the reason we don't is because we don't understand it's bigger than us. We don't understand that it's bigger than us. Ecclesiastes 4 and 1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 1. Bring it out. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun.
This is what Solomon did, the wisest man. He said, you know what? I wasn't only moving for me. I didn't just consider myself. I looked at all the oppressions that my people face under the sun. Go ahead.
And behold the tears of such as were oppressed.
When you look into the world, a lot of people are being oppressed. They're in tears. They go home at night and they cry and they smoke weed and they get drunk and they have no solution for their problems. They have no answer. They don't have the Bible to say I'm an Israelite or I'm supposed to be moving this way, this is what I'm supposed to do. They don't have none of that. All they got is drugs. They got their job. They got fighting. They have all these different lusts that we know if they follow them, they'll get put to death. So when Solomon was looking and he was gaining the wisdom of the Bible, he said, the thing that's going to help us as a people is for me to figure out a solution for them. They have no word. Finish the verse. Watch what he says.
And they had no comforter.
Uh-huh.
And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter.
They had nothing to comfort them. They got nothing to make them feel better. Jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Two are better than one.
So what he understood was unity was important. I can't, if I'm looking at my people and I understand that by themselves following their lusts and destruction is the result of that, and their oppressors on their behind, the only thing that's going to help them is I got to take the wisdom that I have and the understanding that I have, and we got to move in a spirit of unity. We got to figure out, how do I get this brother to see what I see? How do I get this sister to see what I see? How do I get this person to stop moving with their lust and say, you know what, the only way that we're going to get ahead of as a people is if we connect back to God and we work together and move forward. That's the purpose of this whole thing. That's why the Lord put you in a body of believers. He could have left you on your own with the Bible, and you could have read it at home by yourself and said, I'm deep, and I know something. But then when oppression comes, when the United States blows up and they're all fighting against each other, where are you going? Who's going to help you? Who's going to be unified with you if the whole nation is about division? If Esau's been about division from the beginning, the only people that are going to look out for you are the men and women in this room. That's what we don't understand. Solomon understood the only people that were going to help comfort the people were us. Read verse 9 again.
Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor.
Read.
For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up.
Read.
Again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king who will know.
That's it. So the point was is that the better it is for us to not only have two, we want three, right? So it says not only do you want two people, but you want a threefold cord, meaning you should grow in that unity. The more of us that's united and we understand it's true, then we can grow together and we can get to a place of unity. Last one, two more. Sirach 25, verse 1.
Sirach chapter 25 and verse 1. In three things I was beautified and stood up beautiful, both before God and men, the unity of brethren.
So he said, one thing I need from you all in order for you to stop the division and become that nation that I want is I need unity of brethren. Go ahead.
The love of neighbors.
You must have love of your neighbors. You must be able to look to the people around you and love them and care for them more than you care for yourself. Go ahead.
A man and a wife that agree together.
Those things are necessities, but you can't do any of that unless you're connected to God. You can't love your brother because the scriptures say love your brother as you love who? Yourself. What if you hate yourself? What if you never dealt with your own self-hatred and the fact that you got an issue with yourself? You'll never be able to love your husband if you're a sister, right? You'll never be able to love your wife, right? If you have a wife, you'll never be able to love the brother or the sister next to you because you got hate in you. You're divided with God. So the first thing you got to do is be connected to God again. When you connect to God again, then you can look to your left or your right and you say, what? I see him fighting. I see he's dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with. I'm going to help him. I'm not going to let him fall. I'm going to hold him up. I'm going to help her up. I'm going to help my wife up. I'm going to help my children up. Because guess what? That's how we create the unity that the Lord is looking for. That's how we stand as a nation forever. That's how we get rid of the divisions and the schism that we have in the body. Y'all understand, right? Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. I got so much more, man, but I can't go through none of it. Ephesians 4 and verse 1. This is why I hate CP time. Kills me. Ephesians chapter 4. See, I got to endeavor to keep the unity because I hate black people. Right? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. When we all repent, right? I've been late before, but I hate when we late. Ephesians 4 and 1.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called.
Go ahead.
With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love.
Read.
Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace.
Right. So the point is we must work together to keep the spirit and the bond of peace. And to endeavor means you got to work at it. It's not easy for us to always be on the same page. It's not easy for a marriage for a man and wife to agree together. It's a choice that we have to make to be unified as a nation. That's why the Lord gave us conflict resolution methods like Matthew 18. He gave us Leviticus 19 and 17 and 18. Said, love your neighbor as you love yourself, but don't have a grudge against them. He gave you conflict resolution because he understood there's going to be issues amongst you. But what you must do is you must work to keep the unity. You must take everything in you and fight and keep the unity. You know why? Because Esau, when division pop up, they like it. They live off division. They will prefer for you to hate each other. They will prefer to you not be on the same page. But us as men and women of understanding, we must say our job is to endeavor to keep the unity. Go ahead.
For there is one body and one spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling.
Read.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all.
Jump to verse 11.
Verse 11. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets.
So the Lord gave apostles, go ahead, men that travel and teach, go ahead.
And some prophets.
Men that go through prophecy, go ahead.
And some evangelists.
Evangelists, go ahead.
And some pastors.
You have pastors, go ahead.
And teachers.
Go ahead.
For the perfecting of the saints.
The goal of all these individuals to perfect the saints, to make you perfect before God. That's what the purpose of us being around each other is. That's why you got different people in different positions, because they understand the goal is to bring us into perfection as a group. We can't do it alone because we all battling stuff. If I'm battling something that he's not battling, his job is to say, I see you battling that thing. I'm going to help you out in that. I see you battling the thing that I'm battling with. I'm going to make you perfect in that way. And then we can all grow. That's what we're here for. We're not here to be an island or to say, I'm not going to listen to everybody around me. No, you're here so you can become perfect with the men and women around you. The Lord gave you all the tools you need to be great here in San Diego. But what you got to do is disconnect from the world and plug into the truth. That's what you got to do. If you're not fully in this thing, you can never become perfect. If you're not fully in your marriage, you can never become perfect. If you're not fully connected to raising your children or finding the imperfections in each other to better each other, you can never become what God created. Read.
For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ.
Go ahead.
Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ.
All right, so I'll stop there, man, because of time's sake. But that's why the Lord brought us all together, so that we can become perfect, so that we can have unity, right? So in order to get rid of discord, right, and the spirit of divisions, right, because the title, let me go back and say it properly. It was divisions and spirits of schisms, right? In order to get rid of that division and those schisms, we got to understand why we're here. We got to connect to God, right? We got to connect in our marriages, right? And we got to have unity amongst each other. The only way this nation is going to stand forever is if we can get rid of that spirit that Esau started with from the beginning, remove that from ourselves, and reconnect with God. Y'all understand?
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong.